We have the energy to be busy this cycle, but what to be busy with? Being self empowered, being yourself. These are all pressures and questions that this cycle of the human design weather for May 20th to 26th, 2025 will bring. Well, hello there. I'm Margo Fraser, your guide through the cosmic weather. As a certified human design professional and intuitive coach, I'm on a mission to help you know, live, and love the magic of your true nature. In this podcast, Human Design Weather or Not, we explore the conditioning influences of the planetary motions, the transit field. You can't avoid the conditioning pressures. You'll likely notice their effects playing out around you, but rather than you reacting and being pulled off track, this awareness will empower you to navigate the cycle, staying true to your authentic nature and taking advantage of opportunities when correct for you. All right, well, let's jump into the weather for this cycle. It begins on May 20th at 4:02 p.m., going until May 26th at 12:26 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Universal time coordinates, this starts May 20th at 10:02 p.m., going until May 26th at 6:26. Remember to convert that to your own time zone so that you know when it starts and ends for you. We always start with the Sun Earth activations because that's 70% of the conditioning field. This is the last of 4 cycles in a row where we've had 2 individual traits being activated in those Sun Earth positions. Individual traits have the potential to bring through a pulse of knowing that could be mutative and empowering. While individual circuitry carries a keynote of empowerment, this cycle, it's very much about self empowerment, doing what you love for yourself and being self empowered in that way. This is also one of the 3 Sun Earth combinations, or technically oppositions, that creates a full channel. So the sun has moved into gate 20, the trait of the now, also called contemplation. It's in the throat center, and it's probably the most existential trait in the body graph. It's the voice of I am now. It can connect to 3 other traits. Gate 10 in the G center, gate 57 in the splenic center, and gate 34, which it's connected to in this particular cycle, where it will include an expression of that connected trait. The keynote for gate 20, this trait, can be misunderstood because it says recognition and awareness in the now, which transforms understanding into right action. Now, this is a mechanical gate. Only gates and traits in the splenic center, our primal awareness center, in the ajna center, our mental awareness center, and in the solar plexus, our emotional awareness center, have awareness. This trait, well, its awareness will come when it's connected to gate 57 in the splenic center. But it does have a built-in recognition of the now. It operates in the now, in the present. Unlike the collective that's either looking into the future through the logic circuitry or into the past through the abstract circuitry. It represents the expression of our individual capacity to survive. It brings the opportunity to be present to what is. The earth has moved into gate 34, the trait of power in the sacral center, that motor that generates life force energy. This brings the power to individuate, to differentiate, to be your unique self. It's the most powerful gate in the sacral center as it serves three other traits. Gate 20 in the throat, which we just talked about, gate 57 in the splenic center, that triangle at the bottom left of the body graph, and gate 10 in the G center, the diamond in the center of the chart. It empowers each of those gates. This brings the power to survive alone as an individual. If you can't survive alone, you will always be dependent on others, which sometimes can be pretty frustrating. The sacral center is associated with the reproductive organs, and most of the genetic traits within it have a context in terms of sexuality, except this trait, gate 34, which we refer to as asexual. It's a trait of unavailability, as it's meant to be using that power for yourself, for that individuating, not about anyone else, being yourself and surviving. This is a type of power that's often displayed when someone's trying to interfere with it. Remember that individual traits do not like to be interfered with because they're here to bring through something new, to bring through something mutative. So think about animals when they meet, right? There might be this display of power, this puffing up or growling and so on, but most of the time one backs down. So there's no need to actually take action and get into a big fight. So this can help you to understand its keynote, which says power is only great when its display or use serves the common good. So most often what's coming through this trait is a display, don't mess with me. Usually when we're talking about common good, it's about the collective, as the collective is really concerned with the betterment of humanity as a whole. But this isn't what it means here. Here it's referring to the common good that's served by you being your unique self and knowing how to survive alone. No one has to take care of you, right? It's not pulling on the resources of others for that. So this is the opportunity that this trait provides, helping you to understand how to survive alone and providing the power to be yourself, to be self-empowered. When we look at these two traits together, they connect to form a channel. So let's look at that now. Just a reminder that when the transit field creates a channel, everyone that doesn't already have it in their chart is receiving the activation of the related traits and qualities. So there's a big impact that way. This Sun-Earth combination creates the channel of charisma. When you see someone who's really absorbed in what they love, it can be very charismatic. With that sacral center, which you can think of as the energy for work, with that being directly connected to the throat center, the manifestation center, this channel is about doing. It's gate 57, though, in the splenic center, that trait of intuitive clarity that brings through the acoustic knowing in the now that gives awareness to this channel. Now, gate 57 is not active in the transit field this cycle. So take a look at your own chart. If you don't have gate 57, you could end up being busy for the sake of being busy and just burning energy on things that are not of value for you this cycle. Its keynote says a design where thoughts must become deeds. Now, the question is, whose thoughts? Whose thoughts must become deeds, right? This is individual. It's meant to be self-absorbed in what you really love, what you really find satisfying. But if you don't have that gate 57, the thoughts may come from others. And if you're not really keyed in to your own human design strategy and authority, you could end up using this energy for others and end up being exhausted doing what's really not of value to you. This is the caution with this channel activation. If you have this channel in your design, you're likely aware of how this energy is often guilted into using all that power and energy for others. Others are going to feel that you have this channel of charisma, this channel of busyness, and they're going to want to channel that into something that's for them, right? Otherwise, you're selfish. Okay. Because this Sun Earth configuration creates a full channel, there are a lot of people out there that have this in their design. So you might see that you have this in your design. There's a lot of this frequency out there in the world. But again, often that power is not used in the correct way for oneself and living as a unique being. For those of you that are non-sacral beings, you're a projector or a manifester or a reflector, you're going to be getting your sacral center activated in an amplified way, since the undefined centers always take in and amplify. So you can really find yourself running around out of this energy, and it could leave you burned out by the end of the cycle. Or if you're already running low, yeah, this could be a really tiring cycle. So try to be gentle with yourself, bring in this awareness to maybe pull back on the reins a little bit. If you've got things to get done, yeah, it can be helpful, but that undefined sacral center, what's the not self theme? Not knowing when enough is enough. Now, for all of us that don't have that trait 57 awareness, again, might want to just pull back on the reins a bit, just be a little restrained with your energy, do your best to follow your own strategy and authority. Just because all this pressure is there to be busy, be busy, be busy, that might not be correct for you at all. If you have this channel, again, in your own design, one of the things you want to keep an eye on just generally in your life is on the health of your thyroid and parathyroid glands. All that energy, that sacral energy, having access directly to your throat can create issues there if it's not used correctly. A reminder that the individual gates and channels can drop into melancholy. Here, it's about not being able to use one's power in the now and not being able to be here in the now. All right. We do have another medium-term channel that's coming in on May 21st at 1:58 a.m., going until May 27th at 7:48 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Universal Time Coordinates, it's going to come in May 21st at 7:58 a.m., going until May 27th at 1:48 p.m. We have Venus moving into gate 51, the trait of shock, connecting with its electromagnetic gate, the trait of the spirit of the self, of innocence, and universal love in the G center, being activated by Neptune and Saturn. Together, they create the channel of initiation, a design of needing to be first. Here we have another individual channel that can bring a pulse of knowing of what leap into the unknown to take to stretch yourself, initiating you into a new sense of self and coming more deeply into yourself and being centered in that. This can be very empowering and support you in accepting yourself as you are. This is the opportunity it brings. It also brings the opportunity to learn how to adapt to shock. The caution, though, and what we most often see in the not self world, that design of needing to be first is trying to be very competitive against others out of the ego. We have the ego center, the heart center, connecting to the G center. the center of love, identity, and direction in life. So, although it's really meant to be stretching yourself, kind of competing against yourself, it can turn into this ego competitiveness against others. And you'll likely notice that out there in the world around you. You might feel that urge within yourself as well. We have one channel being created by the transit of the moon. Now, the moon only stays activating a gate or a trait for about 10 or 11 hours, give or take. So it just brings a little taster, a little sampler, doesn't have a huge impact on the cycle, but good to know that it's there. So this is coming in on May 21st at 12:18 p.m., going until 9:57 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. UTC coming in May 21st at 6:18 p.m., going until May 22nd at 3:57 a.m. We have the channel of openness, a design of a social being created by the moon, which is moving into gate 22, the trait of grace or disgrace in the emotional solar plexus center, connecting with its electromagnetic Jupiter's position in gate 12, the trait of caution or incaution in that throat center. This is yet another individual channel. So carries again those individual themes of mutation, something new, knowing, and empowerment. This channel brings a pressure to be socially open or socially closed. It can be moody, it can be romantic, it can be passionate or not. It's not in the mood. It's not in the mood. It's the only social channel of the individual circuitry. It brings a chameleon quality to the differentness. We sometimes say the freakiness of the individual. That's in the most loving way that allows you to be accepted by the tribe and collective in a greater way, which in turn can allow it then to bring that mutation through, that spark that maybe will get taken up by the tribe or the collective. It can bring a real grace and politeness to interactions and a built-in cautiousness in expression from knowing that the tribe and collective are not always ready to accept the mutation, the new, or it can bring a rudeness and aggressiveness out of that moodiness, being in a bad mood, bringing disgrace to interactions and incautiousness in expression, kind of splattering that mood all over others. It's a channel of making music together, literally and romantically. It can be fickle, it can turn on a dime. It's very acoustic, attuned to pitch and quality. So the opportunity is the possibility of bringing your unique expression to social interactions in a way that shifts them. It brings the opportunity to be socially open in a graceful way to others. The caution is that if you pulse down in the mood, well, you might just want to withdraw and be, you're going to feel more socially closed anyways, but, don't force yourself into a social situation when you go down on the pulse with this. You don't want to be bringing that bad mood to the social interactions and just splattering that all over everyone. There can be emotional enthusiasm here or volatility. Remember, the ups and downs of the emotional wave are being expressed out at the throat center. Okay, that brings us to our long-term transits. The long-term transits are created by the outer planets and the nodes of the moon. They're with us for a longer period of time, years in some cases. So your not self mind could start to think that they're actually part of you, even when it's something that's not in your design. It's a little confusing then when it finally goes out. We have the nodes of the moon related to our direction and environment sitting in gates 36, the trait of crisis, and 6, the trait of conflict and friction. What a pair. Both in the emotional center. So, yeah, lots of emotionality in the environment, crisis, conflict, and friction. These continue to be in line 3. For gate 36, the trait of crisis, line 3 is called transition. It brings the opportunity for you to develop the depth to endure crisis and embrace change. In its detriment, though, it can bring a tendency to, yeah, I'll embrace the change, but at the same time, not wanting to let go of the past, which is really necessary for true change to occur. If you're going from novice to being experienced, which is what this is giving the pressure to do, you got to let go of the old. Otherwise, later on, there could be this digression back to the old ways. For gate 6, the trait of conflict and friction, line 3 is called allegiance. It's very relational. Through the trial and error process, enriching partnerships, allowing them to grow through the depth of feelings that are brought to it. In its detriment, though, it can be seen allegiance as, well, that's just submitting to being controlled. I'm going to reject that. So the polarity is rejection. Now, Jupiter, with its quality of expansion, is sitting in gate 12, the trait of caution and standstill in the throat. We saw it in one of our channels. This is a trait that can express the feelings, the moods, that can mutate how we interact with each other, but understands as an individual trait. Once again, the tribe and collective might not be ready to hear what wants to come through, what wants to be expressed there. So need to be cautious, need to be patient. It can also be the gate of incaution, as mentioned. Now it's moved into line 4, called the prophet, that has a developmental theme, something we learn as we mature, that says the ability to foresee and plan for the end of standstill. So this trait of caution, its other name is the trait of standstill, right? Standstill, wait, be cautious. Don't express until it's right, correct, according to strategy and authority. Its exaltation says the ability to foresee and express the need for social interaction and an end to caution. Yeah, we've been withdrawn, waiting for the right timing. Fourth lines really get to know others. They have that built-in ability to foster a network, to foster connection with others, and that ability through that to understand when the other is ready to hear the expression. Now, in its detriment, it says the express need for social interaction that falls on deaf ears. So here, that needed patience is not heeded. And it's really upsetting for individual traits not to be able to have an impact. Saturn and Neptune are both sitting in gate 25, the trait of the spirit of the self, innocence, universal love, or the polarity. Again, we saw this active in one of our channels. Neptune sitting in line 4. Really nice line, no polarity. It's something that we learn over time again, and says the nature of true innocence can be maintained regardless of circumstances. The spiritual warrior. So it's helping to foster that for us. Now, Neptune's watery. It could veil this ability a bit, create some distortions, but it could also bring clarity. It could unveil it and support you in going into the depths of the unknown potentials within yourself. It's in the G center, the center of the self. We also have Saturn. It's sitting in line 2, bringing its limitations, its discipline, its consequences to the existentialist. Perhaps Saturn is saying, stay in the now without motivation, or there might be consequences. So we have some strong frequencies here of be here in the now, right? We have gate 20 in the throat center, the gate of the now. And we also have Saturn sitting in this line 2, Neptune sitting in line 4 here in another existential gate trait. So, yeah, lots of pressure to be here now in the present. Uranus, with its unusualness, is in gate 8, the trait of holding together an individual contribution, sitting in that throat center. It's also shifted lines. It's now in line 4, called respect, with a developmental theme that says the gift of naturally recognizing the contributions of others, and particularly the acknowledgement of those who lead by example, just being themselves. The exaltation says the drive to contribute and be an example to and for others. The detriment says in a group where limitation is transcended, reason alone cannot predict individual worth. As an example, the acknowledged leader of an athletic team is not necessarily the most talented. Remember that individuality is not about being the best, it's about being different. So here, if you think in a team sport, yes, you might have the most talented that gets the big C captain on their jersey, but there might be someone else just through their individual contribution that others really see as being a leader. Both the exaltation and detriment are I see them as positive in a sense here, very positive line. And you might find this transit that you can really appreciate the creativity of others and perhaps even bring their talents to light for others. Pluto sitting in that gate 41, the trait of contraction and decrease in the abstract experiential circuitry. It's in the root center with its drive, its pressure to get going on something. This is the gate of daydreaming, fantasizing, start a new experience. And starting a new experience begins with fantasizing. Just a reminder that in the end, it does have to be practical or of value in some way. As we've seen over the last few cycles, we have this very, very strong individuality with the sun, the earth, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, all in individual traits, plus the sun, earth, creating a powerful channel. Yeah, we have the gate of power feeding right up to the throat center. And both other channels being created in this cycle being individual as well. So strong pressure to be yourself. Individuality doesn't like to be interfered with, so that it's not influenced. So again, just like we've talked about over the last couple of cycles, last 3 cycles, there can be this sense of like, just leave me alone, or you might be on the receiving end of that. There's going to be a stronger tendency in this cycle because of all that pressure of individuality. Individual traits always operate in a pulse of knowing that can leave as quickly as it comes in. So always great to have some way to record any pulse of knowing that does come through. Remember, for any of these traits, if you don't have them in your own design, it's just pressure from the transit field. Don't let it puppet you. Right? Observe it. You might feel it. You'll notice it playing out around you. You can learn from it. But whether you should actually be taking any action from it has to be from your own strategy and authority. Otherwise, you're just going to be burning energy on things that actually are not of value to you. That brings us to the end of the cosmic weather for this cycle. If you want to run your own chart, you can go to jovianarchive.com. And if you're new to human design and you want to understand the basics of the body graph at a high level, what's the red and the black about, the different geometric shapes, a bit of background on the system, you can grab my free Human Design Basics mini course. It's at margogfraser.com/human-design. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd be very grateful if you could give it a like and consider subscribing to the podcast. All right. If you have things that you need to get done, this could be a really great cycle for you. But please remember to check in with your own strategy and authority to see if you're really using the energy in a way that's aligned for you. If it is correct for you, you may want to make time to allow yourself to really be absorbed in doing what you love, not what anybody else thinks about it, what you love to do without feeling guilty about it. It's part of the lesson, the wisdom that these activations can bring. All right. Well, have a great cycle. Please be kind to one another, and may you know, love, and live the magic of your true nature. Until next time, bye for now.